straight out of Compton.
This is another movie lingo discussion. I'm Eddie Lingo.
I'm Kendall.
I'm Iris.
I'm Cody.
I'm Nicole.
And today we're going to talk about Straight Outta Compton. Iris, please, could you give us the premise or the synopsis of the story?
Okay. So basically, it's about, my favorite people in the whole wide world, N.W.A, which I will not say what the abbreviation stands for.
We can be straight up with that one because it's all over the movie. You got to know who we're really talking about.
Okay, so we're talking about niggas with attitude.
Niggas with attitude. And yes, you guys can say
basically, which is basically the story of how Dr. Dre, Eazy-E, Ice Cube, and oh my God, what was the other guy's name? MC Ram. That's correct. Sorry. The rise of N.W.A and how they dispersed and then tried to come back together, but unfortunately, our lovely Eazy-E passes away.
It's pretty much the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Pretty much summed it all up.
Yeah, basically that's the whole thing. I mean,
yeah, the rise.
Elongated over that.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, because it's based on true events, so there's not really much more you can say on that.
Yeah,
we follow the rise of Dre starting Ruthless and then meeting up with Suge Knight, and then finally after that deciding he wants to go his own way and beginning Aftermath Records, and then basically after Dre...
Dre started Death Row with Suge Knight.
Death Row, Suge Knight, sorry.
Yeah.
And then after Aftermath, that's when the movie, that's where it reaches its end. That's pretty much all we see.
Yeah, so I think I know the answer across the board, so we're not going to spend too much time on it, but
The movie was awful.
What? I was about to be like,
awfully wonderful.
Gonna jump across the table.
Let's start with you, Kendall.
I got you.
How'd you feel about the movie?
Well, it's pretty obvious that everybody here thinks the movie is great, but I thought it was great. You should definitely see it. I mean, you don't really have to even know much about N.W.A to enjoy the movie, really.
Right.
It's a great movie. The drama's good. It really gets you invested in the characters. But especially if you do know N.W.A or if you live through that time, then you're definitely gonna have like a special connection to this movie.
Definitely. Iris.
Yes.
Yeah, I see you got your N.W.A get up.
What?
Yeah.
I was ready, boo.
You was ready.
Let me tell you.
All right. So tell me how you felt about the movie.
I loved the movie. It was awesome. Me growing up during that time where, they were coming out and doing their music and things like that, it just brought me back. So I loved it. I was so excited. And even though I was still kind of, during an adolescent, so not extremely coherent of everything that was going on during the time, even though I just loved the music, it gave me more of a background knowledge of really how they got together and what went down with Eazy-E and how, I guess, how crazy Suge Knight really is. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I know he was gangster and he was like a crazy bastard, but I didn't know it was that bad.
Yeah.
know?
Suge Knight definitely crazy.
Yeah, I was like, wow, somebody needs a hug from Jesus.
That's the best kind of hug. A hug from Jesus. Cody, tell me what you thought about the movie.
I need a hug from Jesus. This movie was fantastic. I feel like in a lot of biographies about bands and stuff like that, it really caters to those who know about it already, and it's just informing you more. But this movie does a really good job. If you have no idea who it is, it tells the story very thoroughly. There are you know what's gonna happen most of the time. If you know the rise and fall of N.W.A, like you knew all that stuff was gonna happen. And then again, for those who didn't, it was still a great ride. Then some people might not know that Eazy-E passes away. Most of the people, or I wouldn't say most of the people, but a lot of people who watch that know that's happening. Yet you still feel emotions in those scenes, even though it's already technically spoiled because it's happened based on real events. And then the one thing I gotta say is the actors that they got to play these people, it was the best casted movie I've seen in a long time. You got Ice Cube's son, O'Shea Jackson Jr. Taking the role of Ice Cube. The ones that they got for Dr. Dre and Eazy-E were fantastic because you see clips throughout the movie of like actual N.W.A and you forget that the people you're watching aren't actually those people. Those are actors, and it was just fantastic all around.
Yeah, definitely. How about you, Nicole?
I loved it.
finally.
Right? I was telling you
About
in the
time
car,
you like a movie.
For the past 4 movies, I feel like I wasn't like thrilled with any of them.
Yeah, it's okay. It's normally just me. So.
This one, I really liked it. I didn't know the backstories of most of the people that were in this movie. I knew Eazy-E died and all that, but for me, because I didn't know all of that, it did what a movie should do, and it made me happy, it made me upset, and it made me so invested in the movie that by the time the movie was over, like, I didn't know what to do. I was just like,
just watch it again. That's all you can do.
That's all I wanted to do was watch it again.
I watched it twice that same night.
I mean, like, you have those other documentaries out about stars, like the Taylor Swift, the 1989, all that stuff, but yeah, they have their starting and their beginning, but none of it compares to what these guys went to, and it's so inspiring, and that's really what I liked about it. So awesome. I love when I leave inspired and like upset at the same time. It's so great.
Definitely, it's always good when a movie leaves something with you. You walk out of it instead of just being like, "What did I just watch?" Or
like Fantastic Four.
Yeah, exactly. Fantastic Four. So for me, I loved it. Of course, I just said I watched it twice in the same night, and like you mentioned, for me it was really exciting because I was living through all of that, and we didn't really have the access to the internet back then when rumors were flying and all stuff. So it confirmed a lot of stuff that was tossed around in the tabloids and just word of mouth. It really broke it down, and things that you heard about but didn't have any exact proof. That was good to see that. I was like, oh, so it really did happen that way. Or, you know, like Ice Cube leaving the group. Mm-hmm. You know, there was rumors coming in all directions because that's what people do. They speculate like, oh, he probably just left because he wants to be Eazy-E, which was a big rumor back then, that he just wanted the spotlight. But and I also heard on the other side that that the money wasn't being handled right, which we know happens in the biz all the time. So I really loved all that. The acting I thought was phenomenal, and I think they did an excellent job for those who have no idea about N.W.A. If you have any appreciation for music or hip hop, then or even if you just like to see some people make it from one level to the next.
I just thought about the next thing I wanted to say, and it actually gave me goosebumps thinking about that.
He is a goosebump.
It's just one of the things I loved, and I don't want to get this off track, but we need to keep this centered. But one of the things that was really awesome is before they even became N.W.A, we see them, like Ice Cube, spit in the lyrics to Gangsta Gangsta, but not on the actual track, as just like a freestyle at a club. And that I remember I looked over at Kendall when he was doing that, and I was like, this is so cool. Like you see the songs that that I love. I am a big N.W.A fan. I like their music, and that's from my parents actually. Who one of them is a white woman and one of them is a Turkish man. So that's
pretty awesome.
That's an interesting. But they've introduced me to a lot of the music I know and love. But seeing some of those those songs being made in that moment, that's one of my favorite parts.
Yes,
I definitely give me goosebumps right now.
Yeah, and now I'm sweating.
I'm a goosebump. Okay.
I am one collective goosebump.
I know. What's the problem?
No, definitely. So for those who don't know, I felt like it was done very well, tastefully. And one of the biggest things that I'm most proud of is the way it ended with Eazy-E's passing, because even though they were going through all that stuff like weeks or months before he died, resolving it and getting somewhere, we didn't know that because the only thing that was playing were their diss records to each other. You remember that? Mm-hmm. You know, when Dre and Snoop were taking shots at Eazy-E and they had the little comedian playing him in the videos looking stupid, and Eazy had some other diss tracks.
I can't say that I remember this because I wasn't alive back then.
Well, all this stuff was still relevant when he passed. So on the outside looking in, he's passed, and now they're saying, well, we love him, we resolved everything, and it's like, well, that's messed up. You only resolved it because he was dying. But the movie proves that that's not true.
Yeah. There was work in resolving that.
Yeah, and that they were going to get back together as N.W.A and make
I was very
more
happy
music until he passed away.
Definitely. And that they didn't put the beef stuff in the forefront. They didn't even show you that part, which I thought was great. It was
well, we saw a little bit.
It got worse towards it.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about with the music videos and everything.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
It was really tacky.
So what it was, you saw only a small bit.
Yeah, they got a little ignorant.
They gave you the beginning. They didn't give you what was really relevant when he passed.
They're like, let's not make us look like assholes in this movie.
Yeah, they just focused on the okay. Because I could talk all day about how that.
Yeah, this could potentially be a very long discussion.
Yeah. So, let's talk about the scenes that. Excuse me. Sorry. Let's talk about scenes that influence us the most, or how they played out versus reality. Let's start with you, Kendall. Is there any scene in particular that you?
For me, it'd probably have to be that whole scene with the L.A. riots right after the Rodney King case. I wasn't alive during that time. I don't know how it was, but from the stories I've heard.
When were you born?
95.
Oh wow! Damn. Yeah.
When was it?
Like 90.
I thought you were older.
92 or 93.
93.
I was 94, so it was before me too.
Wow.
So yeah.
I thought you were older than me.
Oh my God, you guys make me feel so old
I know,
right now.
right? When you say you weren't alive, it's
I'm
one
only
thing.
21.
But it's one thing when you say you were too young
you
to
were
remember,
older
but
than
you
me.
say
I
you weren't
wasn't
even alive,
alive.
and I'm like,
21.
oh,
I know that kind of hurt me. Like,
okay. Let's bring it back in. Okay, so what were you saying?
You guys are both very pretty for your ages. It's okay.
Thank you. I greatly appreciate it.
When I will say, when you told me how old you were, I didn't believe you.
Oh,
She refuses because
Black
she's
don't
a
crack.
red,
Yes.
but
Black don't crack.
because I'm 21 forever.
Forever.
swag.
Even with
Sorry.
2 children.
Go ahead.
But yeah, the LA riots, that scene, when everything's going down, it's just seeing it from all their perspectives. Like when Eazy-E is watching the Rodney King case on his TV. Like from the stories I hear, I can't imagine how it could have been. Just being in that time period alone, being black in that time period.
Definitely.
Just that whole LA riot scene when you were talking about this earlier, when the Bloods and the Crips, they were walking against the police with their bandanas tied together in
Unified.
unity.
Yeah.
For that,
That was
they coming together.
very impactful.
The whole discussion.
Yeah, like that. When I saw that was very impactful for me because where I grew up in Harlem, like you'd see like the Bloods, all over Manhattan, and in the Bronx, like their signatures all over the place, and like even as a little girl, you don't wear red, you don't wear blue, you wear pink, and you wear yellow, and every other color but those 2.
So am I
Because
Get up.
so you're screwed.
I'm the Blood Ranger.
It was just common knowledge. That's just colors you didn't wear.
Right. Yeah, it was definitely an era where
Yeah.
you really had to worry about
I can't
what you wear.
imagine that.
Yeah,
because they would approach you. Like it were people that were that aggressive, then they really want to know, like, what set you claiming, or what's up, how you come around here wearing those colors, and then you gotta either defend yourself or explain, like, I had no idea.
If I had been walking around, and like it's very different as the environment, but if I was walking around in this area and someone walked up to me and was like, why are you wearing blue, man? I'd be, what the fuck are you talking about?
and then boom, then you get shot.
And then I
It's like
die.
Cody's face on the milk carton. Yeah.
You know what I actually remember? When you said that, my mom said to me when I was little that I can't wear red or blue. Like, I distinctly...
Is that why you only wear black ever?
Wow, no. I just like it. No, but, like, she triggered, like, a memory of me, like, tiny, like, in my bed, and I'm just, like, about to wear, like, a blue
It
shirt.
really
Mom's like,
mattered
no.
back then.
Wow.
And I
And
was
you know
just
what the funny thing is? It wasn't even my parents that used to tell me, because I was raised by my grandparents growing up. So, and of course, they're old traditional from Puerto Rico. They don't know shit about that.
Right.
But like people in my neighborhood, my friends, parents that were, younger than my grandparents would be like, you need to take that off. You need to go change.
Yeah, because you had to walk everywhere. You had to walk to the train or walk to the
Yeah,
bus.
you gotta,
So-
I had to walk to school.
Yeah.
I wasn't, it's not like I was like, oh, let's go jump in the car right quick and we'll get to, no, not there.
Yeah, it was
so
crazy.
like that I was, yeah.
But
And
during
it's scary.
During that time, when the riot started, I was in Georgia, and in class, they would roll in the TVs in every class. And I went to a predominantly black school, but they want us to know what's happening, even though I wasn't even in middle school yet.
I mean, I remember when, it's similar to that, 9/11, they rolled TVs into our classroom and showed us what was happening
Right.
back when that happened, so.
Yeah, I mean, they don't seem to...
But that's a very different type of...
I know, but it's still, it's just like being... when
Aware.
something tragic or some breakdown in society is happening, or it's the same type of atmosphere where they wanted us to be aware of what was happening and see and be knowledgeable, and being in that time, watching people, innocent white people being jumped in the street. I remember, I'll never forget, there was a helicopter circling around while this woman was crying next to the fire truck, and these 3 guys was just hitting her in the head with bricks and celebrating. And I know she did nothing. She had nothing to do with what those cops did to Rodney King, but they were just taking it out on any and everybody. And it was definitely watching that took me back to, you know, and I know you weren't born then, but seeing it, I think they toned it down.
To him.
I'm sorry, yeah.
Being born yet.
Not being born yet. But I think
all 4 of us were born. Done. Kendall's 8.
I
He's
feel
the tallest
like
8-year-old in his class.
they toned it down.
Yeah.
Because it was far worse than what they showed.
I'm sure it was. Yeah.
You know. But that's why another reason why I think this movie was done very classy, tastefully, out of respect. You know,
the riot.
Just certain things were implied so that you knew what was going on,
yeah.
but it wasn't shown so graphically that it was like, you know, not tactful.
Like freaking opening up and like a wound, like closing.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is, even with the Rodney King situation,
Rodney Queen.
King situation, you know, there's still situations going on like that today.
Yeah, I mean, they're just not handling them the same way, and you know, I mean, it's a lot different.
That's a different discussion.
Yeah, that's why I slowed that down. But
that's a whole different societal discussion right there.
Margie. But.
Well, did I open up a wound, you guys?
No, it's just if we start talking about that, this is no longer a straight out of Compton review. This is what's going on with our society.
No, I'm just saying, like, with them showing that, and to know with something as drastic as, you know, the Rodney King issue, and we're still dealing with that type of shit. You know?
Yes.
It's different scenario, but same shit essentially.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And that's what Public Enemy and N.W.A. and Ice-T, they were, even though they had the lyrics of what they were saying street, their ultimate message was, you know, we need to rise up against this. Something needs to change.
Yeah.
And then, unfortunately, we still need to get that message. But back on track, what were some influential scenes to you, or anything that you want to discuss?
Well, Kendall stole mine. No, but the scene with their bandanas tied together for the Bloods and the Crips, that was very influential. I guess one thing that my mom told me before I watched this movie, she was like, I don't know how it's gonna be because I don't know how on screen they could show you how badass of a motherfucker Eazy-E was.
Right.
So when he pulled that AK out on that dude in the hotel,
that was awesome.
And the things that Eazy-E was a tiny dude, like he was short.
Yeah, but I don't think they did him justice body wise because he was actually.
He did look like it.
Yeah, face wise, no, he was built. He was a built little dude.
Okay, well, he was like the things because there was that scene in the hotel where these 2 guys are looking for their girl, and Dre answers the door, and then he's like, "Get the fuck out of here!" and closes the door, and they're like, "Hey man, there's some guys outside. We gotta do this."
Strapped.
You see, you gotta get strapped, and you see them flipping the beds and throwing all the girls around and grabbing their guns, and then Eazy-E opens up the door, and he's like, "Oh, Felicia's in here. She's busy with like a real dick right now." And like this guy he's saying this to is huge.
Yeah.
And like I'm not a fighter, so I would have been like, okay, time to leave the hotel forever and never come back to the city. But and then the guy was like, "What did you say?" As if Eazy was offended by what that guy said, and then he was just like, I have a loaded assault rifle in my hands in the middle of a hotel.
But
and he didn't even tie up his pants. He came there still practically with his pants undone, like my dick shows right now. Who gives a fuck?
And then Ice Cube tearing up. I can't remember his name right now.
The office.
The offices of his record producer after he left N.W.A.
Right.
Ice Cube is always he's very mad. He looks mad a lot. And his son did a fantastic job in that.
Oh God,
scene.
yes he did.
So good.
So fine. I was like, damn, boo.
Jesus,
he's gonna be my next baby daddy.
His eyebrows were Ice Cube level.
Oh, okay, I thought you were about to be turned on by his eyebrows. I'm like, this is a new level. This is a new level of turn on.
You know what the funny thing is? He looks like his dad, but I've never found his dad to be attractive. Just like a regular guy that just does really good. But his son, I was like,
because he's more light skinned.
No, it ain't got nothing to do with the light skin, boo. It's his face. I don't know what it is. It's like,
he did a fantastic job of playing his father.
Yeah.
And he
did.
He got the mannerisms down. And I even wonder because I didn't know until Kendall pointed out like 2 weeks ago that was his son playing him. But like I want to see what his son's like outside of this movie because I
hope we get to see him in more.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
I wonder if there was parts where he was like, I don't really do that. I'm like, yeah, you do, daddy.
Okay, so on that last thought that you mentioned, Ice Cube, Dre, and even sometimes MC Ren were very, very hands-on with the director F. Gary Gray in the production of this movie. So anything that you saw O'Shea Jr. pull off, I'm pretty sure Ice Cube was all over, like molding it, like a little bit more this way, a little bit more that way, and
a little bit more eyebrow.
I saw an interview right after
Ice Cube.
Right after we saw the movie. I watched an interview, and Ice Cube was like, "This movie's 5 years in the making, and my son worked 2 years to be me, and I spent 2 years molding him into exactly what I wanted." And he did phenomenal, and I agree. He did amazing.
Yeah, he did do an amazing job. He did do an amazing job. So back to the point that we were on earlier, did you have any scenes that were influential to you or anything that you wanted to discuss?
I mean, yeah, but mine are like much different than you guys's.
It doesn't have to be on the same level.
Like
that's why we have a mixture
different.
of the panel, for different views and opinions.
Like for me, when I was little, my mom was really big into Michael Jackson, and I was always watching like Thriller and stuff, and that made me want to get into arts. And he made me feel inspired. When I saw This Is It, like that, it's not the same level as this movie, obviously, but I felt inspired. And when I saw this movie, when they had the run-in with I believe it was the Detroit police.
Yes.
Right before their concert, and they were like, "You can't sing the song, fuck the police," and they were like, "Oh, okay." And then they went on stage, and they're like, "Nah, we're gonna sing it anyway." I was just like, "Oh my god!" Like I felt really like inspired, and that scene really did it for me. Like, you do you, basically.
Yeah,
Don't
do
let
you,
people
no matter
stop
what,
you.
because that's why people follow you, because of who you are. I mean, you let them control it, you change things. Funny thing about that scene though, like they were pretty much like them and Too Short, the rap artists, were pretty much, once they started realizing that they can do this to them, they started little small towns in different states that didn't like it, started making up laws where you couldn't even use profanity on stage or you'd be arrested. For certain shows, like Too Short came to Columbus, Georgia at one time and performed, and as soon as he cursed, they arrested him on stage.
And that's ridiculous.
Right, so it got to be a little ridiculous, and I was surprised because when they showed the scene of all the people that got the CDs and they were stomping and trashing, and Eazy-E was like, let them do what they want. Fuck it, they paid for them.
Yeah.
I've always felt that way, and I was surprised though when they
bought our record.
Yeah, you bought them to the strong. I always thought that was extremely
Yeah,
stupid.
you still made me money. You paid for it.
You cleared the shelf. When if you would have left, I probably would have sold maybe 10 more, but you bought 100 more.
Yeah.
How stupid is that? But Ice-T went through that first. And I was surprised. I was hoping that they would find a way to throw Ice-T into the movie like they did with, Tupac. And
I know nothing about Ice-T, so I don't know how he fits in.
Yeah.
I know he's on.
I like how they do.
Well, yeah, he's on Law and Order Special Victims Unit, and
Yeah.
he's married to Coco, and he's got that reality show Ice Love Coco.
I
But
love the
he
Coco.
went through the same thing with his music. He was definitely representing the streets, and he had a couple of songs about, I think it's called Cop Killer. And so they were giving him the same.
I can see why the police would be a little.
Right, they were giving him the same. And forgive me if I'm wrong about the song, but you get the idea.
Right.
And they were buying this stuff, running over with steamrollers, trying to arrest him if he performed. And he kept doing this thing anyway, and it was around the same time, maybe just a little bit before. And I was really surprised that they didn't cross paths or throw it in there somehow. But I'm not complaining though. This movie was phenomenal and well represented. So where are we at now?
The best part of that whole scene was the ending when they did get arrested, and they were just like laughing.
Oh,
about
laughing
it.
in the
and they were like, "Yeah, we know we did it.
Yeah,
And it's
they knew it
totally
was gonna
fucking
happen.
fine." I loved it. That whole. Oh my god.
Like, what are we gonna get, a misdemeanor charge? Like,
And then they just get out and they're like, "We're gonna do it again."
Yeah.
And
And then there was
didn't even phase them.
There was that scene that I know, I got tensed up in when they held the press conference. When they asked Cube, "What do you do with all your money?"
Have you seen that real conference?
I haven't. I did, but I haven't seen it in a long time.
Yeah. Watched a documentary about them, about the most dangerous
But
group in the
when you
America.
see the way that Ice Cube, like the look, or not Ice Cube, I'd say Ice Cube in the movie Ice Cube.
You can say it. That's what he was playing.
When you see the look on his face when they ask him, "What are you doing with your money?" And I even said it out loud in theaters, like, "Oh shit." Like, because he wasn't getting what he deserved, and that's one of the main problems of the movie. So,
exactly. I had no idea that he wrote as much as he did. I knew that he had a lot of influence from the ground up, but I had no idea he wrote as much as he did. I didn't know that Eazy-E couldn't rap at all.
That was a fantastic scene, too.
That was amazing too.
Like,
I loved
like,
that
bitch,
scene.
I taught you how to rap.
Right, pretty much. I wrote for you. I got you on this platform, and people chant easy.
Cruising
easy.
down the street in my 6'4".
It sounds like you if you were to like. No, actually, you rap really well. Actually, I will give him that.
Oh wait, we got to get that mixtape going.
Let's move
You
on.
rap
Nope.
Eminem well.
We'll move on from that.
Okay, we're moving over.
We don't need to start talking.
I know
about
the guy
that.
next to me was getting in the movie theater was getting so upset because I was like
He was rapping lyrics.
rapping in the lyrics with him, and he was like, "Shut the fuck up!"
Kendall,
And I was like, "Nigga, don't hate."
Kendall said that there was a couple white people when he watched it the second time.
Yeah, they were
Oh,
going ham, man.
Oh, when they started
This
doing
is my
Dope Man,
jam, yo.
when they started doing Dope Man, I was
Dope man.
Well, when they started singing "Fuck the Police," what my sister-in-law was like, "You need to relax." I was like, "No, fuck the police."
That's a great part of the movie too, though, that they represented their best songs really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love seeing them in the studio doing it. Love seeing the motivation behind it.
And
Yeah,
I liked
it was good.
I liked the parallels that they showed between we had footage from the movie and then footage from
Actual-
N.W.A.'s actual Straight Outta Compton music
Right.
video
Yeah,
when
I love that.
O'Shea and the woman who played Ice Cube's wife were sitting there watching
them watch the video.
actual Ice Cube on
Yeah.
it. That
It's
was
like I was
cool.
so young there. I
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah,
"Bitch,
he's
that's
like
not even
24 in
you."
real life.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's still pretty awesome though. So we talked about the acting was great. We talked about how the key moments that we didn't know about or we didn't know about how they affected us. We talked about the music itself. I don't want to overlook anything before we rate it. I mean, but
There's only one thing I want to mention. I do love the movie and everything, but I don't know for sure. But with all the music that they were saying, about Compton and how bad it is, did they even give back to the community though?
Ice Cube did.
Ice Cube.
Oh,
I
okay.
know for a fact Ice Cube.
He did.
and
Okay, because I
will be-
didn't know. I personally did not know about any
Well-
of that. But that's all I was like.
Yeah.
Let us know. Also, comment down there if you
Yeah,
guys know.
like if you know if whatever they may have done for their community, if they
But
contributed.
I get
'cause
the
I
distinct
mean-
feeling that there probably were more contributions.
It had to be
Okay,
later.
yeah,
though.
because I was
Later
like, I
on,
hope
yeah.
not
'cause
that you're
They
doing all
ended
this,
it
singing
right
all this
when
crap.
Ice Cube was
and-
finally starting to see profits from his hard work, and Dre was already profitable.
Oh
but-
yeah, I'm sure there's something that
Yeah.
Dre has done. I mean, Dre's got his own, literally. Okay, Dre has gotten to the point where he started his own label, and the people who were on his label got so big that they started their own label. Dre now has a dynasty of labels, essentially.
Yeah.
You've got Eminem has just recently started Shady Records as his own, and Eminem is bringing on a bunch of people, and that only started because Eminem blew up with Aftermath.
Aftermath.
Like, that's just fucking impressive
Oh
right
my
there.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Oh my
So
gosh.
I get the distinct feeling that Dre has definitely given back in some way. I can't say yes or no, but I have a feeling.
Yeah,
it's
because
a yes.
you know what it is? Because it hasn't really been publicized so hard.
They never do. They only.
It's only the bad that we hear.
Pretty
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
I mean,
You know?
my grandmother used to
That's
tell me when
upsetting.
I was younger, she was like, because my grandmother watches the news all the time, and at night you only hear the bad headlines
worst
are the
news,
ones that,
yeah.
that sell. Like,
And that's normally only what they're gonna go with because they think that's the only thing that interests people. So, all right. So now we all agree that this movie was phenomenal. So what I would like to talk about, because we're all from different backgrounds, different age ranges, I want to talk about how you were introduced to N.W.A. And I have to start with yours because you're just the most involved into this setup right now.
Wow,
So
I grew up
please
in
tell
the
me how you were
projects,
introduced
but-
into how you were introduced to N.W.A.
Well, to be honest, I actually grew up on the East Coast. I'm originally from New York, if you can't tell. And of course, I mostly grew up, with Biggie and Tupac rising up. But because of my age range, I wasn't all like, oh, East Coast, West Coast, like, oh, no, I wasn't about all of that. Like, I've just always been all about the music. I don't care where it came from. So I'd have to say, I can't remember the exact moment I was introduced. It was just music I remember growing up with, hearing it on the radio, seeing the videos, and of course, one of their first videos, N.W.A. together, where Ice Cube comes on the scene and he's like, motherfucker, motherfucker named Ice Cube.
Yeah.
Like that big.
Oh, the Straight Outta Compton
Straight Outta
video?
Straight what? That was my shit. And then of course, you know, me being this little girl running around talking about motherfucking name Iris. Like
I could totally see it too.
which would get me in trouble. But it's okay. But I have to say that I don't know, I just listened to whatever was put in front of me. You know, when you're when you're small like that, it's like you're still learning, you know, about everything, and it's like whatever you're introduced with, you're just automatically influenced by.
Yeah. So it was around you and you just soaked it in?
Yeah, and I just soaked it in. I mean,
I feel that.
Even when the whole thing with like Eazy-E went down and they had it on the TV, I remember that. And I mean, I remember when Biggie died and there was like a whole bunch of people in the streets. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? Why are there so much people? Like, is it a street festival? Like we having a block party that I don't know about? Yeah. I just have bits and pieces of my childhood that I just remember, you know. And I know I have like some cassettes, like I don't have like when they were doing it on the little records, but like the little like back in the 80s. No.
Yeah,
but
cassette tapes.
the cassette tapes, the N.W.A. cassette tapes, and even some like Tupac cassette tapes and some Biggie stuff and, you know, some other stuff from back in the day. But
how about you, Kendall? How were you introduced to N.W.A?
Me, I was mostly a product of my environment. You know, I grew up in New York. And that was the kind of music my father listened to. You know, Tupac, Biggie, N.W.A, anything like that. I didn't really get into it until I was a bit older. You know, it was music that was played around me when I was younger, and you know, it was there. But I got into it like in my early teen years.
Okay. And it just stuck with you?
And it just stuck with me.
All right, cool. How about you, Cody? How were you introduced? I know you mentioned a little earlier.
Yeah, and actually before that, I guess my first introduction to N.W.A would have been through, surprise, Eminem. I listened to Eminem long before I even knew much about N.W.A. And so listening to Eminem, I would then hear him, you know, talk about Dre.
Right.
And then I was like, all right, well, let's see who Dre is. And then, like, from Eminem grew to the, Forgot About Dre, the song that they did together. Dre talks about, you know, Eazy-E, Ice Cube, and Snoop Dogg, Double G. And then I was like, all right, well, who is this? And I started looking into that myself. But my parents also, my mom is a huge Public Enemy, N.W.A fan. I've actually seen Public Enemy live.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
wow, that's awesome.
But my mom is a big, like, she grew up in a very small town in Pennsylvania, and she said she was like one of the only like girls, like white girls there listening to, you know, like N.W.A.
Good ass
like,
music.
Exactly. So my mom's a really cool woman. So it's thanks to her that I started listening to N.W.A, Run DMC, Public Enemy, that kind of stuff. Public Enemy, I appreciate them, but I like N.W.A a little bit more. So it's a combination of me looking into it a little bit myself, and then once I had questions, I would ask her, and she would fill me in on the information.
Yeah.
That's
awesome.
so funny.
So
Just to interject there, I'm sorry. It's like I can't picture, like, you said your mom is white, you said? I could just imagine her like bobbing her hands, jocking some bitches, slapping some hoes.
At home just jamming with the big old headphones. You know, parents looking there like, yeah, I'm not gonna bother her now. She's doing it.
But that's good that she's very eclectic.
No, that's awesome. How about you, Nicole? Were you ever introduced to N.W.A prior to this movie?
Yes, my mom is from New York. She's from the Bronx, and that's all.
There's a lot of New York on this panel.
Yeah. So she would always listen to it. She's the kind of person that I feel like their music speaks to. Like, she doesn't take any kind of bullshit. So like, even when she was a little kid, she used to get in trouble. She used to get in trouble all the time, and then I'd be sitting in the car with this tiny little kid, and she's like blasting fucking police, and I'm like, what's that? She's like, oh, you can listen to it, it's okay. And then I was like, Daddy, guess what I learned today? And he's like, what'd you learn? I'm like, fuck the police. And he's like, what?
No.
And my mom's like, no, she can listen to
Your
that.
dad's not a cop, is he?
No.
Okay, because that would really be awkward.
No, he's just like a quiet, old, like, Spanish-looking white man. So he was just like, what? And mom was like, no, she just can't know what like the private parts are. She can't know that. She can know what the other stuff is. And he's like, she can't know what any of it is. You know how old she is? But no, she used to play it all the time.
I think you turned out great. So
she always used to tell me, she's like, if a police officer tries to arrest you, Nicole, you fight. And I'm like, Mom, I'm not gonna do that. She's like, no, you do it. So
that's awesome. I have to meet your mom one day.
Yeah.
my mom.
Well, I was introduced actually because when they started being heavy in rotation nationwide, it was around 88, 89 for me. And I had no idea because I was, believe it or not, I was only into the dancing, whatever had an upbeat, it got me moving hip hop. Kid and Play, Queen Latifah. No, I would dance disco too.
Eddie, were you a disco kid?
I was all about the dance, and so anything that was upbeat, I
want to see a picture of you when you were younger.
I'm sure he was pretty limber.
How tough?
Pretty limber.
Because I was always moving. Yeah, so
agile.
I didn't really care for it, and we moved to Georgia when I was very young. So when I come back down to visit down to Miami, and I was chilling, with my cousin down in Carroll City, he was always playing N.W.A. or Ice-T, Colors. He was playing, the Public Enemy, and when I come down, it was just loud music to me because it didn't. Some of it was just like more on the vocals, the lyrics.
The lyrics are very.
And I was like, I can kind of dance to this, but it wasn't really making me,
to it.
And he used to play it loud while we would be playing the Nintendo, Russian Attack or Rad Racer, or Pro Wrestling or RC Pro. We playing all these games, and he would be into it, and then it just started happening to me because I'd be competitive,
right?
And then I started actually listening to what they're saying, and then I realized, like, when I started listening to the lyrics, like, these guys are pretty badass, pretty tough, and so it was more like wanting to be like my older cousin, and also wanting to have that aggression and my competitive nature in the video games that actually made me start, focus on it. So I would make copies back then. You make a copy of the tape, get your blank tape, plus play, record, and I would take all my N.W.A, Public Enemy and stuff, Ice-T, and I would head all the way back to Georgia, and I'm listening, and I would just play it nonstop because I wasn't old enough to buy the stuff myself. So whatever I got from him was all I had.
Right.
So N.W.A, really heavy, and it, like, I just kind of embodied it. It changed me. And then when I was finally old enough, that's all I was really into at that point, was whatever was aggressive, whatever was lyrical, whatever was hard, whatever was gangster rap, and that was my exposure, and it just stuck with me, right? Yeah, it just stuck with me. So, Cody, you had an interesting point and actual knowledge
anecdote
on a certain situation.
Anyone who knows me, all of my friends have heard me tell this story before because I love it, and it's one of my favorite moments. When I went to school at FSU, when the movie Ride Along came out, Ice Cube came to FSU and did a screening of the movie where after the movie we watched, basically you had to line up and get a pass to be able to sit in and watch the movie with Ice Cube, and which I went about 7 hours before, and there was a small line starting. I lined up to get my pass. And I got my pass, and then I came and watched the movie. And afterwards, some of us were allowed to walk up and ask him questions. I asked him a question simply about like his music and where he's going from there. But what I wanted to talk about was in the movie we see Eazy-E is slowly dying. The doctors say that he has a small amount of time to live. And I feel like when Ice Cube came to the hospital, he talks with Dre. And he's like, I can't look at him. I can't see him like that. Like, I need him to be sitting up and talking with me. I know a couple people that I've heard from the movie were like, fuck, like, people who don't know that much about N.W.A were like, what? Why? Like, that was a dick move. Like, why not go see your friend before he dies? But someone in this, in the screening of the movie at FSU actually asked him about that. They asked him, how did you, can you describe that last night that you spent with Eazy-E? Which in the movie, they actually showed the scene. Ice Cube talked to me and everyone in the group about it, like it was a theater full of people, and he talked about how Eazy-E approached him at a nightclub. They were still a little bit beefing, but Eazy just wanted to sit down and talk, and it was actually a hell of a lot longer of a conversation than they put on in the movie. Right. What happened, according to Ice Cube, was that they stayed and talked until the club was closed, the bar owner had left, and most people had left, and finally someone was like, "You guys, we gotta go." But Ice Cube and Eazy-E sat there and talked for hours and hours about like the old times, getting back together, apologizing for things that happened. And then what Ice Cube said was, after that, they walked out into the cold. He asked Eazy, I believe, if he wanted to get a taxi, and Eazy was like, "Nah, man, I'm good. I'll head on my own." And they walked away, and that was the last time Ice Cube ever saw him before he died. And he didn't want to see Eazy that way because he wanted to keep that memory of his last encounter intact. Because if you think about, I can't speak for them, but if you just put it in your head and try and be in their shoes, like they've been beefing for so long, and then finally this night, Ice Cube and Eazy-E came back together and they hung out and they vibed like they normally do, and they were very happy with each other. They left on such good terms that Ice Cube going to the hospital and seeing him there would have just tore him apart, like seeing his friend like that. So I think that's the reason why Ice Cube didn't want to go into that hospital room, is because
I totally get that.
He wanted that last memory of his friend to be a happy one,
as positive as possible. Yeah, I totally get that, and everybody's entitled to their opinion, but me personally, I've had situations with family like that where I didn't want to go on. I was forced to because I was younger, but for me, I didn't want my last memory to be seeing them all tubed up in the bed as well. So I totally get that, and I don't fault him for that. And I feel like it's not really disrespectful. It's not selfish. I feel like he was honoring Eazy-E by not tainting that positive visual, that positive reaction. You don't without tainting. I feel like it's more of a respect thing. I mean, anybody want to chime in on that?
My mom's the same exact way. She's the kind of person that she doesn't care what's going on with you. Like, if you're about to die, she will be in there with you. Where I am the kind of person, like, if my last memory of you is how you are with me on a good term, then that's how I want to keep it.
Right.
We went through that when I was like 9 when my grandfather passed, and she was like, "You should go see him," and he was like not comprehensive of vegetable. I was like, I don't want to do that.
Right.
And she would not talk to me because she was so mad, and she was there when he died. But she got really upset, and she even told me when she saw the movie, she was like, "I can't believe he did that." I'm like, I mean, it's the same situation. And then she kind of calmed down a bit. But yeah, I think for me personally, if I remember you in a way that's positive, that's how I want to remember you. I don't want to be mourning you or upset over you and then thinking about you all tubed up and like not the way you'd want to be living your life,
Right.
So for me, that would just hurt more, and I don't think the person I knew would want that either.
I will say this: if they're asking for me, that's
that's
different.
different. Oh my God,
if they're up and I can speak to them and say, life is great, love you, whatever.
Yeah, but that's
But you being unresponsive and just withering away,
that's very
people
that's
just
hard.
wanting you there because like you knew him, like that's not. I don't think that's right.
Yeah, it's bad enough that he's dying. You want that last memory of him to be when he was alive, when he was well. It keeps him alive in your mind, in your heart.
Definitely, I agree.
I can agree with that to a point. I was a lot younger, so I couldn't understand. But my sister actually passed away in her sleep when I was younger. My sister was she was a very sweet girl, but she was mentally handicapped. She couldn't walk. She had a lot of birth defects and problems and stuff like that. So when I look back on that, like of course, like without a doubt, I would love to have her back here. But the fact that happened and that she passed in her sleep, and the next morning like we woke up, we didn't get to say goodbye, but it was a lot easier than in a hospital bed, that kind of thing.
Definitely.
So I can see where some situations are different. Sometimes like if someone's unresponsive, like that memory hurts more than actually sitting there and talking with them. But everyone's different. Like
everyone's different.
So
Everyone's
it's everyone's
So
own
we
opinion.
respect everyone's approach at it. But let's get back on a more positive, because we don't want. Okay, sorry.
I have a prediction. As we're moving into the next part of this video, I have a prediction. I think this might be the first movie lingo video that gets a 10.
Let's find out, because
Let's find out. We can
nothing
have
left
some surprises.
to it but to do it. You know what I'm saying? So let's rate it.
Kendall?
I give it a 5 because I thought
I was like, somebody's looking for a kick in the ass.
I gave it a 5 out of 2.
I would definitely give it a 10.
Kendall's walking home.
Kendall drove here himself.
Kendall's still walking home.
Still walking home. No, what do you give it?
I give it a 10. The movie was really good. It was
nice.
Yeah, I can't really find anything wrong with it. They glazed over a certain couple plots points in the movie, but it took over a long period of time.
Yeah.
Right.
A whole career's worth.
It's hard to put all that in a movie.
Yeah, and they did a really good job with it.
Yeah.
Everything was really
So
good.
we got a 10 so far.
I'm giving it a 10 as well.
I thought you were gonna say something like an 11 or a 10.5. Even though it's a 10 scale, I was just expecting you to jump.
I'll give it a 20. No, I really enjoyed the movie. Yeah, that's how Eazy-E got in trouble. Okay.
It was so easy.
So.
I really enjoyed the movie. I enjoyed every aspect of it, even though I know they didn't give Ren too much, spot in the movie. But it's like he didn't even really work on the movie with them. It was mostly
Dre
and Ice Cube that were like the main. And if you look at it, it mostly circled around those three.
Yeah.
Eazy-E, Dre, and Ice Cube. So it wasn't so bad.
All right. So sorry to cut you off.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, I have to get a 10.
10.
It was a fantastic movie. I will watch it again. I already have plans to go and watch it again.
Yeah.
I will own a copy of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I loved every part of it, and every emotion you needed to feel in a movie you felt in this movie.
Nicole.
It was a 10 because I
Copycat.
have no reason to give it a 9.
No reason to give it a 9.
Dave straight to the point.
All right. Well,
All right, Eddie.
I'm gonna also give it a 10.
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
Look
It's
at that.
hard math.
Right across. Yeah, it's hard math. Right across the board.
I think that's a 9 out of 10 for movie lingo average.
Yeah, definitely gonna give it a 10. I loved everything about it, like you guys said, and when it's based on true events, you can't really focus on plots and what they drove out, what they did, and they had to fit a lifetime, some people's entire life into that span. So I'm all good with that. All right, so we've decided, which was pretty clean cut, straight out of Compton, the N.W.A. true story. It's a 10 on the Movie Lingo, the first movie ever to get a 10 rating. So that's wow. It's gonna be interesting by the end of the year when we have conversations. About our top movies.
Yeah.
Because it may not be this by the end of the year, but we gave it a 10. So it's gonna be weird to compare. But anyway, I want to thank you guys for joining us. Again, we're filming out of Past, Present, Future in Davie, Florida. Where they have all kinds of weird soda and stuff that you can enjoy, and comics, figurines, everything you need. Great people, great staff, and we thank them for letting us film here.
And it's clean.
And it's very clean, actually.
Very clean.
Very, very clean. Also, who am I missing? We got a shout out to Nate. Unfortunately, he's not here again. Old Snapper Cupcake. Who is
working a lot.
Yeah, but he's got a new job. He's moving up in the world, and soon he'll be back with us as soon as he gets everything settled. So we greatly appreciate him and his support behind the scenes. So you guys, please watch, after you see the movie, give us your comments.
Alyssa.
Jesus Lord.
Also, shout out to Alyssa. Who,
shout out to Alyssa.
She also was working today, but she brought us delicious baked goods. We also have a Movie Lingo birthday. Iris has just turned 21 again yesterday, I believe.
Yes.
Again. No, actually, it's officially today, but because, it was a work day, I had to celebrate yesterday.
True.
Right.
So
I know.
you guys, I'm not really 21, but you're never going to
Alyssa.
find out how old I
Wish
am.
her a
I
happy
did not
birthday.
forget her, I swear. I did not.
She's watching this thinking you did.
She was
That's what editing's for.
Well, you know what? I'm Mr.
editing.
Creepy.
Yeah, that's what editing's for.
I'm Mr. Creepy anyway.
We were not saying.
Good thing this is not live.
Let it go.
So Mr. Creepy is sorry.
He didn't watch
By the way,
Paper
Paper Towns discussion. If you want to know why I am Mr. Creepy, please watch the Paper Towns Movie Lingo discussion and
watch all the Movie
comment on
Lingo.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, watch all the Movie Lingo discussion and comment. But let me know if you feel I'm Mr. Creepy.
You Dragon Ball Z fans seem to be the only ones out there commenting on how we don't know anything about anything.
You Dragon Ball Z fans try and watch something besides
Someone said
Dragon
we're
Ball Z.
losers, and I agreed with it. I liked the comment. Shout out to you.
Shout out
I wasn't
to you.
in the Dragon Ball Z one, you guys, so you could still love me.
So anyway, if you want to follow us, definitely follow us on. We have a Facebook page. You can like that. You can find us on our Movie Lingo channel on YouTube.
We have an Instagram.
We have
And we
Instagram.
have Instagram.
MovieLingo.net.
I want more buddies.
At Movie Lingo is the Instagram. We're on our website, movielingo.net, where you can still watch all of these videos if you don't want to be sifting through YouTube, whatever you prefer. And we're going to be uploading new profile, bio, individual stuff to get to know the Movie Lingo panel more on that site to drive you to it more anyway.
Spoiler alert, I like boobs.
I have to agree.
I'll show some cleavage.
There we go.
I like butts.
This is the best panel ever. She has one, by the way.
Okay. Let's not do that.
I just have. Sorry, guys. I just have pregnant butt.
You're good.
I'm Puerto Rican too, though.
You're
Right? You
good.
should see my mom,
She
right?
didn't say Puerto Rican butt. She said I have pregnant butt.
Oh, I thought you said Puerto Rican.
She said I have
the same
pregnant
way.
butt. You're like,
Yeah.
I'm Puerto Rican
Same
too.
thing.
Technically it is.
It's technically the
I
same
love you
thing.
guys. This is awesome. All right, so thank you for joining us for another movie lingo discussion. I'm Eddie Lingo.
I'm Kendall.
I'm Iris.
I'm Cody.
I'm Nicole.
And we'll see you on the next discussion.
I'm Mrs. Jackson.
No whites allowed? Something like that? No. Niggas with attitudes.
Straight out of Compton, crazy motherfucker named Ice Cube. From the gang called niggas with attitudes.
You have any idea how many records you're selling? N.W.A.'s arrived. You're fucking huge.
Dangerous motherfucker raising hell. And if I ever get caught, I make bail. See, I don't give a fuck. That's the problem. I see a motherfucker cop, I don't dodge.
Your songs, they glamorize gangs and drugs.
Our art is a reflection of our reality.
The Rodney King beating was a shocker.
Guys like you change shit like this.
This is a threat, guys, from the federal government.
Speak a little truth and people lose their minds.
Performance of the song F the Police will not be permitted.
They try to tell us what the fuck we can't play. This is N.W.A. Yo, Dre.
What up?
I got something to say.